is gone, and now I can start going to work. From here, it'll be 1, 2, 3 knees. Step on his foot and break his ankle as an objective or any other objective. Again, Carlos grabs, shift shoof, elbow, step back, piston him down, present the face, 1, 2, 3, step into objective. Again. One more. Attack number 12 will deal with a variation of the same lapel grab. This time Carlos grabs and he launches his attack, and I did not get a chance to kick. Not only that, if he launches his attack and now I start a kick, I'm off balance, he's going to get the best out of the engagement. In other words, if that hand is already in flight and he's going to attack you, you're going to have to deal with that hand either you like it or not. So he grabbed and I'm going to block. I'm going to use a 90-degree block. If you are forced to block, as an Agana practitioner, it's always going to be 90-degree block. If you do any bigger than 90 degree, you're going to redirect everything to your organs. In other words, if Carlos would have grabbed me, and right now he had a knife, I would have directed him to his organ if I had a bigger angle than 90 degree, which is just slip into it. If I keep a 90 degree, it stops him from coming in. All right, so anytime you do block, it is a 90 degree. From here, right now, Carlos' objective was to seize me and punch me. When I blocked, Carlos' mind is right here, right here. He's thinking, man, it didn't work. I want to change his mind to the neck, okay? Again, he comes in, 1, 2. When I hit him here, now Carlos thinks pain section 2. In other words, I short-circuited what he came in with. Again, 1, 2. From here, go on the other side, please. 1, 2. From here, I'm going to seize the hand here. Do not grab with the thumb, you're plugging. And I'm going to step right behind. Again, step right behind. From here, my hand becomes a shoulder roll. In other words, I'm going to hit him in the neck and spiral down here. From here, you have objectives to whatever you want to do. Again. Came in, 1, 2, step in, spiral down. Again, this angle, please. Grab, punch, 1, 2, step in, and spiral down. All right, right now you got introduced into another takedown. In other words, when Carlos grabbed me, I blocked and I punched. This is what we call a spiral takedown. I don't rip. In other words, I don't struggle with him. This will be who's stronger. And most of the time, whoever attacks you is stronger. You usually don't see a Chihuahua attack a Rottweiler. Basically, most of the time, your attacker will be bigger than you. If not, he will be using some kind of weapon. The takedown is established by me hitting him, by rolling my shoulder. This is what short circuits him so he doesn't think resistance downstairs. And thereafter, I spiral him down. When I spiral him down, I want to spiral well under where he is. From here, I can work objective. Obviously, if you're law enforcement, you're going to go into either handcuff or restraining him. Usually I teach my students to pull back and start playing soccer with your opponent. Anytime you pull him back, you stretch him out. And he cannot go into a grappling situation that he's going to shoot for your legs or so. Or, of course, you have 1, 2, and turn it. Attack number 13 is going to deal with a headlock. Okay, in the Agana system, anytime the hands are on the neck, that's called a choke. Anytime his arm is going to go around, that's a headlock. Okay, the first headlock is going to be a side headlock. I'm going to have to address here primarily danger. The primarily danger here right now is this hand going into hitting me. It will take him about 8 seconds to him choking me out here. Therefore, I got time for that. But if he starts to hit me in the face, that's going to short circuit me, and therefore, I'll never have a chance to protect against the headlock. Therefore, I'm going to have to neutralize that first. I will do so by blocking and catching. Now, sometimes the guy is too big, and you'll have to catch from the inside. That's fine. Either on the outside, or if it's too big, you shove the hand here. Now, I can address the headlock. From here, to short circuit him, I'm going to hit him in the groin. Now remember, his whole thought is right here. I hit him in the groin, right now his thought came here. From here, I'm going to change the security on this hand, go upstairs around. And I'm coming right under the nose with the middle finger. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a question mark with my hand. While I do so, I'm going to clear my foot so it doesn't fall on my foot. So again, he comes in, first thing, secure that hand. Grab it, hit in the groin, switch the secure, come over here. From here, question mark, drop him, and from here you can go to work into whatever objective you have. It's important when you go to the nose that only the middle finger works, okay? You want to use the middle finger and kind of like push it through. Don't put the whole hand because he can bite you, and if he bites you, it's going to short circuit you. Number one. Number two, you only want the finger right here, because what you're doing is there is a nerve there. Okay, it's the same thing when I push here. If right now I put all my hand here and Carlos pushes forward, he can resist. It has a resistance. But if I put one finger push forward, he cannot resist because there's a nerve there. So it is important that you put one finger and do not present this finger for a bite. Attack number 14 is a variation of the same headlock, but he's going to go much lower. In other words, Carlos came here and he went real low. And for me to pick him up, it's going to be either too much stress on my muscles at the moment, or it's going to be impossible because he's too big. Okay, the primary danger again is that hand. You're going to have to secure that hand, either it's high or low, it doesn't matter. So first thing, I secure and I hug, or I come from the inside. From here, I hit him in the groin. Because it's too much work for me to go upstairs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wedge of my hand right here. I'm going to take the wedge of my hand and shove his kneecap right in the center. So you got 1 foot, 2 foot, and I'm going to create a perfect triangle and shove it forward. All right, from here, that will present his ankle, and he's going to let go. I can break it with my knee, or I can just shove it here and break it there. Again. He came in, he took it real low. Right away, secure this hand. Hit him in the groin to soften him up. Down. Don't shove it there. In the center, right there. From here, break the ankle, and out you go. Again. Attack number 15 is going to deal with a headlock from the rear. Okay, Chris comes from the rear and puts me in a headlock. Okay, right away I'm going to have to react. Number one, because I don't want him to curve back, and number two, it came from the rear. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the hands, because the primary danger is basically him choking me. I'm going to plug. Now I'm going to have to lower my base so I stay in balance. If I don't lower my base, I'm not going to be in balance, and he's going to be in charge. Now watch here. Again, as soon as I feel him, anybody putting a hand across your neck from the rear means business. You're going to have to react right away and plug it right here and lowering your base. From here, watch what I'm doing. This is a big misconception in other systems, that people have to throw. I don't have to throw him. I'm going to have to basically outbalance him. What I'm doing now is I'm going to lean forward. When I lean forward, if you pay attention to Chris' feet, he gets on his tip of his toes. In other words, all his weight gets tilted up front. Therefore, when I throw him, I don't end up yanking. A lot of people try to yank, and when you under an adrenaline rush in the street, you might pull you back. Yes, you threw him, you pull you back. Guess what? He gets back up and he beats the shit out of you, which is not good for you. So in other words, I come in here. From here, I'm coming down and I'm tilting. As soon as I feel him light, I'm going to try to put my forehead on this knee by turning and taking him over. Okay, I never picked up his weight. I basically tilted his weight off me. Again, he comes in, first thing drop, get you base so you can be in balance. Tilt him forward first, don't rush. In other words, if you panic and you rush, you're not going to have it and you're going to go into a strength struggle. I don't want to struggle with him. Chris is much bigger than me. I want to use his weight against him. Now all his weight is up front and all I do is turn and down he goes. From here, of course, I got objectives. It's important after you took down your opponent to actually contain him. Don't throw him or don't toss him away. In other words, he connected with you, he engaged. That should be good for you because automatically as you have an engagement, you can contain him. In other words, when Chris puts his hand around me and I drop my base and I throw him, I'm going to keep holding this hand. In other words, I tilt him so it's not heavy, coming down. From here, I can drop this knee. I can drop this knee for 8 seconds, he'll fall asleep sooner or later. I can go into arm bars, I can go into breaking, I can start hitting, I can terminate him. It is important that you don't get in the mode of throwing somebody because what will happen is he came attacked you from the rear and he gave you a gift by giving his hand. You said, I don't want your gift. You insult him. Don't insult your opponent, demolish him. Again. Attack number 16 is going to be a variation of the headlock coming from the rear. This time Chris is going to grab me and he's going to yank back. In other words, Chris comes from the rear, yanks me back. That will prevent me from dropping base and overthrow him. In other words, now I'm going to have to deal with the primary danger of being off balance. Of course, first thing I'm going to have to do is unplug here so I can breathe. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to wrap my leg right behind his front leg. Okay, whatever I got here, I'm going to wrap. I'm going to completely ignore him and go with him to this side. Now, when I do so, I stay tight to him so I get him off balance. From here, I'm going to give him one shot with the elbow and I'm going to yank him straight down. And from here, of course, I got my objectives. Now, it is important that as soon as Chris grabs me, that I plug here so I can momentarily breathe. As soon as I try to drop base and I see that he's yanking back, don't get stubborn. Don't go, I'm going to throw him no matter what. You're going to pull you back in the middle of the fight. That's not good for you. You take that one step and you go wherever the side of the elbow is in. In other words, I'm going there. Inside. From here. Give him an elbow shot to soften him up. And right now you're going to throw him this direction straight down. From here again, I can drop this knee. I can drop this knee. I can terminate him. Whatever your objective is at the moment. Again. Attack number 17 brings us to the transaction of what I call the grappler wants to go to the ground. In other words, I am dealing with a tackle. This brings us to the issue of ground fighting. As an Agana practitioner, I try to avoid to go to the ground. However, we have did extensive research on ground fighting systems that are out there so we understand what the objective is, therefore I can fight it back. Ground fighting scenarios and survival training techniques will be covered in another tape. the techniques that I'm covering on 17 and 18 is against the tackle. In other words, what do I do when he comes in and tries to take me to the ground? I want to avoid going to the ground. Again, there's a lot of liabilities involved. Number one, I can only deal one-on-one. I cannot deal with multiple attackers as soon as I hit the ground. It's very bad in a street fight. Number two, the asphalt and the pavement in the street is not as forgiving as a mat in a training environment. You're out there on the pavement, it's hot, maybe it's cold, there's rocks, it's going to be painful to you just as much as to him if you go into grappling. And number three, weapon deployment. He pulls out a knife on the ground and it's going to get very ugly very fast. So in other words, I'm going to try to avoid that by redirecting my techniques and my defense against a tackle. Carlos comes in and goes for a tackle, okay? Systematically, when somebody goes for a tackle, they're going to attack you leverage and you balance and take you to the ground. I call this the outside technique. In other words, I saw it coming. Because I saw it coming, the last thing I want to do is back up. If I back up, number one, I tell him defensively wise, I'm scared. Number two, I give him more momentum, and as he comes in, the tackle is going to get much stronger. I am going to go in and jam him. As soon as I see him coming in, I'm going to go in and jam him. If you are right-handed, automatically I want you to step in with your right side, which is your strong side. If you are left-handed, automatically you'll step in with your left. It doesn't matter which way you're going. It's a middle technique, therefore it's ambidextric, and you got the choice. If you got the choice, always step in with your strong side. As he comes in, I'm going to shoot my elbow. Now this is going to create one of three things. Either I'll connect with the head and it's going to cut and glide him into a shoulder, or either I'll get this shoulder or this shoulder. It does not matter where you end up. If you end up on this side, bingo. You end up in the middle, gave him a headache and a migraine in the process, bingo. You end up on the other side, that's fine as well. Do not shoot for one side. You're going to be stressed out that he's tackling anyway. I don't want to put more stress on you. As he comes in again, I shoot right here. This will stun him and stop him. From here, I am going to shove this down. All I'm doing is shove this down, and I'm going to shoot down under the armpit. In other words, go on this side, please, Carlos. He comes in, I stun him. I shoot this right here, right here. From here, I am going to pick this up, shove this down. I want this hand like a piston. I want this hand just yanking up. As I do so, I'm going to pivot this leg. So when he falls down and gets redirected to the ground without me, he doesn't fall on my leg and breaks my leg. So again, I'm here, and all I'm doing is right there. This will create that he's going to have to stand back up and come back fight standing up. If he tries to take you to the ground, obviously he likes going to the ground. Therefore, I am pushing him or forcing him coming back where he doesn't like it. Tactically, this is going to be a confidence breaker for him, not for me. So again, he comes in, I stun, go in, shove down, coming in, redirect it, and I force him to come back. Do not, at this point, jump on top of him. Because if his objective was to go to the ground, obviously he likes it there. So if you jump on him to do whatever, he's going to take you in his territory. Very bad for you. Attack number 18 is going to be the actual tackle. In other words, I never got a chance to see it, or maybe the scenario overwhelmed me so bad that I froze for a second and he's already inside. Now I want to make this clear. If you have no choice and you have to go to the ground, it is important that you go to the ground with a dominant position. Again, I'm going to cover ground survival in another tape and will explain to you what I mean by dominant position. If right now Carlos got in other words, he tackled this and he's on the inside, and I never got a chance to jam him, that's considered inside. If I go for the elbow here, that's going to do absolutely nothing because he's going to take me off the ground and take the leverage out of my elbow. Therefore, I am forced to go to the ground. If I'm forced to the ground, what I'm going to do is I am going to go with him, but I'm going to make sure that I end up on top. That will be done by me simply sitting back and hooking the leg. Back up for a second, Carlos. I am going to basically sit down and hook with the leg. As he comes in, I sit down, hook with the leg, and I end up on top. Okay? Again. Go on this side. He came in. I never got a chance to do anything. I'm already feeling all this body motion coming into me. I said to myself, fine, we're going down. All you got to do is hold on to him, sit back, hook the leg, and on top you go. All right? It is important. Go on this side, please. It is important that when he ended up in, that leg hooks. If you don't have a hook here, it's not going to work. The hook makes it possible for you to dump him sideways. You don't want all his weight on you. In other words, as I go down, that hook moves all his weight this way. As I sit down, he never got to be on top of me. As soon as I'm on top of him here, it's one shot, two shot. Either you'll get it for free. Maybe you got just 2 shots for free. That's fine. If he covers up 1, 2, you'll have to strip and go for an elbow. If he did not cover up 1, 2, still go for the elbow. Grab the head 1, 2, 3 on the concrete, and that'll be the end of that. When you reach your body of your opponent on the side, before you go to work in any of your objective, you're going to have to neutralize the position. If you don't neutralize the position, he can roll out and go into a dominant position on his side. Therefore, the first thing you got to do is neutralize him. Only then you can go to work. A lot of people try to go to work too soon, and then he transits into another position and you lose what your objective was to begin with. When you get to the side, the first thing you're going to have to do is prevent him to come with the legs this way or to roll. In other words, I am going to put my knee right by his hip right here. If you need to first put your hand and then put your knee, that's fine. But I want that knee right here, so I prevent him from coming with the legs and working with the legs. As soon as I got this, I am going to put my chest on his chest like a blanket. I want to completely smother everything he's got, just like that, middle on middle, and I'm going to lay myself on him. As I do so, my other hand is going to go by the neck. Now it is important that you have this very tight, because I am trying to prevent the bite. If it's loose, Carlos turns and he takes a chunk out of my tricep. That's going to not be good for me. In other words, he's taking over that position right away. In other words, I'm going to make it nice and tight, and Carlos is going to try to bite. As soon as I got that bite neutralized, I can start going to work. In other words, first thing, that he cannot go this way with my knee being here. Second thing, my leverage, smothering his leverage. Third thing, putting the elbow right here so he can bite me. Right now, the only thing I got to worry about is this hand or this hand. Now, this hand can hit me, but it's not going to be a big deal. The only thing that endangers me here is him coming for my eyeball and poking me in the eye. So that I'm going to have to neutralize by putting my forehead right on his chest. And I'm going to have to play with it because he's got 2 hands. And this hand is going to hug. Okay, in other words, I'm going to basically just hug him and neutralize. Now, right now, what's going to happen is he's going to try to come out of it just like a fish out of the water. If you pay attention, I keep everything tight and I make sure that he cannot eye gouge me. Try to eye gouge me, Carlos. Right there. Now, I can start going to work. As soon as I neutralized him with the eye gouges, the bite, him moving around, I can start going to work. The first thing I'm going to have to do is start softening him up. I hit him here, I hit him here. This is the hand you want to use. If you lose this hand, he's going to bite you, it's over. Make sure this hand stays there and start going to work with this hand. All right, you start hitting anywhere you want, you can hit. From here, after you hit a few times, he's going to try to do something with that hand. As soon as that hand comes in play, you're going to slam it. You slam it on the concrete. Use the concrete. If you have to do it a couple times, do it a couple times. From here, I'm going to grab the hand this way, plugging it. Don't go with the thumb. You go with the thumb. In training on the mat, it's okay. In the concrete, you just ripped your whole thumb by him trying to fight it. Thumb stays on top so you don't rip it. From here, I don't want to go on the concrete here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cup